All right, we're jumping right in with example 2 and example 3. Here we have expressions that are squared. And what do we do when we have an expression that's squared? How do I get rid of that? So this is 3 minus x squared. You would need to square root both sides. So let's do that together. So first step, get the squaring by itself. Check, check. We are done with that step. Step 2, square root both sides, because that's going to get rid of the squaring. And I am left with 3 minus x is equal to, what's the square root of 4? Plus or minus 2. All right. Now my last step in this, if it was just an x squared, I'd know what x is. X is plus or minus 2, but that's not true. What number could x be to make this true? Well, I'm going to cover up that little subtraction. What if that was the equation? 3 minus what is equal to 2? Well, x is equal to 1 then. And what if I covered up that and we were just looking at the negative 2? X minus what is equal to negative 2? And those are the two different equations we're answering. But let's just set it up. Like, why do it in your head when you know that you can get it right by showing your work? Okay, trying to get x by itself. This is a positive 3. I did this one intentionally because I wanted you guys to look at this. There's a positive 3 and a negative 1x. All right, so you're going to subtract the 3, even though it's subtracting, x is being subtracted from it, it's a positive 3. Negative 1x is equal to negative 1. There's an invisible coefficient of a negative 1, so you're going to divide by negative 1. And x is equal to a negative 1 divided by a negative 1, which is 1. Yay! All right, let's do the same thing over here. Subtract 3 from both sides. Negative x is equal to a negative 5. Don't forget that this is technically an invisible 1. So you're going to divide by a negative 1. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. 5 divided by 1 is 5. Does that make sense? Let's triple check. X minus 1 is positive 2. Nice. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So we're good to go. Both of those answers check out. You want to make sure you mentally check it in your head. And those would be your two answers. I'm going to do this. Well, I'm kind of running out of room. Why don't I put it over here? Example 3. I'll go through this one a little bit faster. This one looks crazy, but it's not, I promise. Okay. Is the expression that happens to have division. No one call the cops. It's just division. That has division in it, and we're trying to find out what x is. What would I do to both sides? Well, I'd square root both sides, and that leaves the radicand, which is x divided by 3 equal to plus or minus 6. I kind of squished all of that into one row. And at that point, we're already to step 4. So I square rooted both sides. I got a plus or minus 6. What could this possibly be? Well, let's set it up into two different equations. X divided by 3 is equal to 6. X divided by 3 is equal to negative 6. Could you probably do this in your head? Yes. Do I want you to write it down? Yeah. Okay, how would I solve division by 3? What undoes division by 3 there? Multiply both sides by 3. X is equal to 18. Does that work? Is 18 divided by 3 a positive 6? Yes, it is. Nice job. Okay, multiply both sides by 3 here, and x gives you negative 18. Is that also true? Negative 18 divided by 3? Yep, that's a negative 6. So like I said earlier, there might be times where you'll have a positive and negative of the same integer, but not always. Usually you'll have different answers like those.